Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our June First Friday program. I'm Marcy Fessler, President of the First Friday Club Board. In the name of our officers, board members, and committees, I'm honored to welcome you to our luncheon and presentation this afternoon. As a reminder, if anyone needs religious education certification hours, please sign the form at the welcome table. And as everybody knows, at the welcome table are donation envelopes, our email forms, and flyers for next month. Who was here last month? Well, thank you for coming back. And I'm asking because our speaker last month, Heidi, sent us a care package. We have some copies of NCR that she sent us because she loves us. And they are at the welcome table, so grab one on your way out. I would ask that you grab one, okay? She didn't send us a huge box of them, but we do have probably enough for everybody to have one, I think, okay? So I'm saying it publicly. Thank you, Heidi. And Ray's telling me, Ray keeps pointing at me today. Every time I look over, he's pointing at me again. So there are two articles of interest in here. One is by Heidi, and one is by today's speaker, Sister Judy. So you definitely have to grab them. Is that everything, Ray?
Page 16.
Page 16. There we go. Okay. So back to our regularly scheduled programming. To find out more information about our programs or any changes, make sure you like us on Facebook. Everybody knows we're videotaping our programs now, and they are on our website or on our YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. As a reminder, reservations are due the Thursday 1 week before the luncheon. However, next month, everybody take out your calendars, we are meeting on July 10th. So it's not the first Thursday, we're at the second Thursday. Okay, so July 10th, make sure you put that in your calendar. So if you show up here on July 3rd, we're not gonna be here. Okay, so make sure you put that on your calendar. Okay. I'm throwing out this one more time, last call for new board members. We are looking for people, especially knowing that next year will be our 20th season. So we really want to build ourselves up a little bit. So keep thinking about it. Chat with me after our presentation today or any of our board members. At this time, also, as long as your phones are out, make sure they're silenced. Check your watches, make sure they're silenced too. We have 4 tables of Humility Sisters here today. So let's give them a big hand. And thank you so much for sponsoring Sister Judy today. Next month's presentation will be, as I said, July 10th. And we are going to hear another Humility Sister, Sister Margaret Marzel. And she's going to speak on living a discerning life. So I'm hoping all our Humility Sisters will be here next month too. Looking good, cool, okay. Sister Judy has said she will entertain questions during the last 10 minutes of her presentation. Yes, she did say that. I heard her say it, so I'm confirming it. And before I introduce our speaker, let's take a moment and bow our heads, remembering our presenter, all who are gathered in this space, those who are not able to join us today, and for all the family and friends of First Friday Club. – In a spirit of praise and thanks, we pray. God, our Creator, you sustain our lives through the gift of your Spirit and in the following of Jesus. Stir in us the desire to learn, to love, to serve more generously, to act on behalf of justice and truth. We ask these blessings in your holy name. Amen. I also have the privilege of introducing our speaker today. And it is a privilege to welcome Sister Judy Dohner, a sister of Humility of Mary. Seems like a theme here today, right? Okay. So Sister Judy has spent more than 30 years walking with and serving migrants and immigrants, both in Haiti and here in the United States. For 16 of those years, she lived in Haiti as a nurse and hospital administrator, immersing herself in the struggles and deep faith of the Haitian people, a commitment her community embraced through their corporate witness to Haiti in 1991. Since 2018, Sister Judy has been ministering in Immokalee, Florida, a town at the heart of Florida's migrant worker community, as a case manager at Guadalupe Social Services, a program of Catholic Charities in the Diocese of Venice. She works daily with Haitian immigrants, offering support with food insecurity, housing, education, and immigration needs. Her fluency in Creole and deep understanding of Haitian culture have allowed her to walk closely with those she serves, not as an outsider, but as a neighbor and fellow parishioner. Sister Judy is a Eucharistic minister at the Haitian liturgy, a translator in everyday life, and a living witness to God's presence in the resilience of the poor. As she beautifully reflects, the people among whom I live and work have taught me faith, trust, resilience, patience, and humility. I see Jesus everywhere. These are not just powerful observations, they are the heart of today's message. In her presentation today, they are our teachers, the values people who are poor can teach us. Sister Judy will invite us to see with new eyes how those who struggle materially often live out gospel values in profound and transformative ways. Please join me in welcoming Sister Judy Dohner.
Bonjour tout le monde, qui j'ennuie. I promise I'll speak English for the band. I want to start by thanking Ray Novotny, who's been taking care of me for the last couple of days. He's been my tour guide, my chauffeur, my host, and he got me here safely. Although, when I got to this parking lot and saw all the cars, I thought, just keep going, Judy, just keep going. Okay, my friends, oh, good. I was asked 2 years ago, Winifred Bullock is my Sister Winifred is my public relations manager. She just kept pushing and pushing to get me here. And I was asked 2 years ago, because you folks are so organized that you have speakers already on tap. Then last year, Sister Nancy called and asked me what my topic was going to be. I work with migrant farm workers who are always on the move. What do I know? So by the Holy Spirit's guidance, I thought, they have so much to teach us. That's what I want to talk to you about today. So in getting ready for this presentation, I looked at your website, First Friday Club, to see if I was indeed meeting your mission and purpose. One of the purposes of the First Friday Club is to raise awareness of spiritual, theological, moral, and social issues. I'm hoping that I will raise some social issues at the same time a spiritual reality. And another purpose is to renew one's faith and personal response to God's love. I'm really thinking by the time you leave here, your faith will be really challenged and just better. So the presentation today, I do not know how to do this. See? Don't know how to do this. Oh. Okay, got it. The right arrow. I lived in Haiti way too long. We didn't even have electricity, so. They are our teachers. The values the poor can teach us. But I want to start with a story. Any of you who know Father Ron Rolheiser, he's a speaker. He started the Oblate School of Theology. He's an Oblate of Mary. He starts all of his talks with a story. He says he's testing the microphone. Well, I'm just going to try to relax you all. So, there was a wise woman traveling in the mountains, and she came to a stream and she found a precious stone in the stream. The next day, as she was continuing on her journey, she met a traveler, and he was hungry. He stopped and said, "Do you have anything that I can eat?" She opened her bag, and he saw the precious stone. He asked the woman to give him the precious stone. She did so without hesitation. The traveler left. He was so happy. He had enough for the rest of his life. A couple days later, he thought, I have to find this woman. He went back up the mountain and he ran into her. And he said to her, I want to return this precious stone to you. I've been thinking. I know how valuable this stone is. But I'm giving it back to you in the hope that you will give me something even better than this precious stone. Please, give me what you have inside of you that enabled you to give me the stone. That's what I'm hoping you will learn from the people that I'm going to tell you about, the people who are poor and marginalized. So I'm here today to share with what I've learned living and working with people who are poor and marginalized. I'm going to be talking to you about economic poverty. There's all kinds of poverty in the world, but we're not going to go there. It's going to be people who are really economically deprived. Really important, first of all, that we understand poverty, because we're all coming from someplace where we have an idea about poverty, but it is our own idea. Poverty is much larger than somebody's concept of it. You look at the global poverty map, I hope people over there can see it. If you notice, America, Canada, under 2% of the population is really poor. You look at that little tiny island underneath Florida, that is like a deep rouge, that's about 80% poverty, that's Haiti. If you look at Africa, most of Africa is very, very poor. So the definition of poverty will differ from country to country and from place to place. I think I missed one. Really important we understand our concept of poverty, because I'm going to ask you to let it go, because I'm going to talk to you about rural poverty and third world poverty. And if all you know is urban poverty in Youngstown, Ohio, it might color some of what I have to say to you. The poorest people today live in countries that have seen little or no economic growth. People who live on $30 a day or less are considered poor in a country like America. But in about 84% of the world's population, they live on less than $4 a day. Extreme poverty is defined as living on less than $2 a day. Most of Haiti lived in extreme poverty. And there's a difference between rural and urban poverty. Each has its unique challenges. Urban poverty is complex, multifaceted, but it's concentrated in certain areas and certain neighborhoods. When I was growing up in Akron, Ohio, we knew the areas not to drive in because those were the poor areas and that was dangerous. Urban poverty is often the result of income inequality, high cost of living, lack of affordable housing, and discrimination. People who live in rural areas, and I am living in Immokalee, that's a rural agricultural community in Florida, they have stark levels of deprivation. They have low income, many of them lack education, have very limited access to resources. The closest hospital from Immokalee is 30 or 40 miles. If any of you know parts of rural Ohio, they don't have access to hospitals or to health care. Technology is tricky. There's food insecurity. There's lack of supermarkets. So what do you think of when you think of poverty? People are dirty, people are poor, people are starving, they're unemployed, they don't want to work, they're violent. This is a really funny story, happened yesterday. I'm driving out here. I see this really, really cute convertible, this little sports car with an African-American man in it with a stocking cap around his head. First thing I thought was drugs. Second thing I thought was put down your window and tell him how much you like his car. So think about how you think about poverty. I did this slide just to help us all remember that poverty differs all kinds of places. Now, don't challenge me on the numbers, because even when I looked, they were all different in different places. But it kind of gives you a sense of poverty. Population in Youngstown, in Immokalee, and in Haiti. The median age, if you notice, Youngstown's really a relatively young town, as is Immokalee, and Haiti's very young. The per capita income in Youngstown is even less than my poor little town of Immokalee. The poverty rate is 30% in Youngstown and between 25 and 40% in Immokalee. And 8 out of 10 people in Haiti. Big difference is foreign-born. The foreign-born in Youngstown is very small, and most of the young people in Youngstown have finished high school. Part of the big problem we're having in Haiti right now is there are gangs running Haiti, and the gangs didn't even finish grade school, so they're illiterate, much less having any critical thinking skills. Language in the home other than English, almost everybody, at least 50% of the population where I live in Immokalee, does not speak English as their primary language in the home, even though the kids are going to school. And just to remind you that poverty really is everywhere, if you get the AARP magazine, I got one a couple weeks ago, and here's the thing that says, 1 in 9 older adults live in poverty. I mean, it's everywhere. We're looking at poverty everywhere. You're not going to be able to read this, and I wanted to make it bigger. This is about my ministry with the poor and marginalized. In the center of those 3 arrows, I wanted to put the gospel. I wanted to put Jesus, because everything I have done in my life is because the gospel has impelled me to do it. The top arrow, well, first of all, I worked in hospitals in our community for the first 25 years of my life. Then I went on a sabbatical, went on a 30-day retreat. Jesus said to me, "When are you going to follow me?" And I heard it clearly. Jesus wanted me to follow him radically. Not that I wasn't following him already, but I was not settled. There was something more I was supposed to do. So I got a job with East Coast Migrant Health Project that followed, as a nurse, that followed the migrants up and down the East Coast stream. You had to find your own housing. It was just, I thought, oh, this is the gospel. This is what I want to do. Remember, I'm in my 40s. I was young and full of energy. Then I went to Immokalee and I ran a social service agency in this little town, and I'll tell you about it in a minute. I went from there to Haiti, ministered there for almost 17 years, And now I'm back ministering it to the rural poor in Immokalee. I'm doing all of that because the gospel compels me to do it. I'll talk to you about Haiti a little bit. This is just the background for what they have offered. I've learned from them, so you need to see where I came from in order to pick up what they were trying to teach me. I was there from 2002 to 2018. Aristide was president when I went. Aristide got kicked out. I was there through hurricanes. I was there through the earthquake. And the beginning of the breakdown of the country that happened around 2018. 6 million of the 11 million people live on less than $3 a day. Over 2 million live on less than $2 a day. And it's the 18th most corrupt country in the world and the first most corrupt country in the Caribbean. 40% of the population of Haiti is illiterate. They have 2 languages. You can't see that, it's at the bottom. French is their official language, and Creole is the spoken language of the people. So if you can imagine, they speak Creole at home, they learn French at school, but then they go back home and they speak Creole. Now Creole in the last 10 years has become a legitimate language, but they have to figure out the rules for it. The people are illiterate. That means most of them didn't finish 6th grade. Then they come to America, and people say, send them to ESL classes. ESL classes is going to teach you verbs, nouns, participles. These people don't know basic French and basic Creole. They need to learn English as a rescue language before they learn how to speak it. Now they are trying to run the country. The gangs are trying to run the country, and they have no critical thinking skills because they didn't finish school. Okay, sweeties, where's my helpers? This is the reality I lived with in Haiti. This is Henri. I ran a clinic in Cité Soleil, which was the big slum in Haiti. And Henri worked for me, and Henri lived in one of those little houses. And he had 5 children and a wife. They have no plumbing, no electricity. And he was a transporter for us. Come on, honey. I have lots of slides, it better work. After I worked in Port-au-Prince for a number of years, I went to live with an indigenous community of Haitian sisters in the mountains of Fondois. I was the only white person, I had the only vehicle, and I was the only one that spoke English. You can bet I learned Creole really fast. Their mode of transportation in the mountains was walking or donkeys. And that's a picture of what the mountain, it was just a mountain town. This talk may take longer than 45 minutes, oops. I put this picture in of this baby because this baby looks like it's fat and it has a skin disease, but it's really malnourished and has kwashiorkor, which is a wet malnutrition. How'd you get there? Wait, back. The other picture is one of the sisters who I lived with, Sister Claudette. She teaches a class to women on how to sew. If you look at those sewing machines, they're pedal operated because there's no electricity. If any of you have ever been to Everglades City in Florida, they have a museum. And I went to that museum a few years ago, and I saw one of those sewing machines. I saw a kerosene lamp. I went, this is Haiti. But for them, it was a museum. We had no electricity, so I had a kerosene lamp. And every night I'd turn off my kerosene lamp and go, good night, John boy. Really, it was very, very, every day was hard in Haiti. The picture on, I don't know why I put the other picture in, but the picture on the right is Father Rick Frechette. He's a Passionist priest, went to Haiti, saw how bad Haiti was, and went to become a doctor. He's a DO, and he started a children's hospital where I was the administrator, and then he started an adult hospital. He is in that picture at our chapel blessing bodies. We had bodies of dead children and dead adults from our hospitals every day. If there was a day we didn't have a dead body, I rejoiced. People could not afford to bury their beloved. So we would And they're just laying on cots in body bags, and then we put a cloth over them, and then we take them out and bury them in mass graves. It was a really hard life, but it was absolutely filled with the grace of God. That's me pointing to the house I was living in when the earthquake happened in 2010. I fell down, I got a concussion, I got some fractured ribs. The picture on the right, when I first went to Fondois in the mountains, there were no roads, and the guest house was in the middle of the mountain. So you had to take your truck down these rocks. It was very frightening. So my community gave us money to build a road. I said we should call it Humility Highway. The road gave people jobs making the road, and the road was from Tomgato, which was a town in the top of the mountain, to Fondois, where we lived. So now young men could buy motorcycles, and they could have a motorcycle business to take people up and down the road. So it brought businesses. The people didn't have to walk we had market like 3 days a week because there was no refrigeration. So they had to go up and down. So it was really a blessing for the town. That was the kind of life I lived in Haiti. I came to Immokalee. Those of you who know Naples, Fort Myers area, Immokalee is an unincorporated town in Collier County, which is part of Naples. Naples is the fourth wealthiest community in Florida, and we are kind of under the guidance of their government. Immokalee's main industry is agriculture. 75% of the population is Hispanic, from Mexico and Guatemala. And the Guatemalans don't speak Spanish. They speak Concabal and they speak indigenous languages. The husband may have learned Spanish to be able to survive, but when we work with the women, they didn't know Spanish. 20% is Haitians. So we say that the minority are the majority in Immokalee. Everywhere you go, they're at least speaking, the people that are employed or in the drugstores, in the grocery stores, are at least speaking Spanish and English. No, trust me, nobody speaks Creole. I will go in a post office, the postmaster will say, "Can you translate for me?" One day a woman was at the CVS pharmacy trying to buy medicine for her sick infant daughter, and it was an adult medicine. And the woman at the counter is trying to explain to her, "You don't give this to children," but they couldn't. "Can you help do that?" So they have a definite disadvantage because they don't know Spanish either. 4 out of 5 households in Immokalee live in poverty, but 75% of the people are legal. They're permanent residents or they're citizens. And most of the Haitians that I work with are here under a legal status, which since January has been changing. But when you think of farm workers and you think they're all illegal and they're working it, they're not, at least not in Immokalee. 4 out of 5 households that live in poverty make less than $15,000 a year. That's about $1,500 a month. And 35% of that is spent on rent. They're not really good pictures, but the one on the right is a apartment building for the Haitians. It's on Main Street, and they're paying $800 a month, and it's like an efficiency. So they'll put 4 or 5 men in so each of them can pay a piece of it because they can't afford it. The house on the right here is $1,300 a month. And it's a living room, 1 bedroom, a bathroom, and a little tiny kitchen. It's $325, $350 a week. If you rent houses in Florida, or at least in Immokalee, you can charge whatever you want. There's no way to, and people will get out and the next people will come in. So housing is a big piece of their income. So why have I lived and worked among these people? Because God called me, and it's a call within a call. Now we get to the part about what can we learn from them, now that you know who them are. My vision in ministry when I started working after my sabbatical has really changed. It was all about helping. God's calling me to be with the poor, and God wants me to help them. Now it's about being where they are, living where they are, and finding God in their lives and in my life with them. Pope Francis, when I was preparing this talk, Francis had just died, so I thought I'm going to throw a few quotes of his in because he and I were really copacetic about poverty. Pope Francis has said, "We've all been called to follow Jesus. Let's go there." I cannot give you hope, but I can tell you that hope is where Jesus is. Many of you have probably read Henry Nouwen's book, Gracias. It was the time he spent in Bolivia and Peru. And I'm paraphrasing something that he said that really resonates with me. I went there, I went to Haiti, believing I would think myself into a new way of living. What really happened was that I lived myself into a new way of being. Nouwen says, living with the poor not only makes you see the good more clearly, but the evil as well. The priest that I worked with in Haiti used to say, and I really believe this, in a third world country like Haiti, evil is in your face. You can absolutely see it, black and white. In first world countries and economically content countries, evil is often gray. And you can see that a lot in our politics now. What we might say is really evil, a lot of people go, So, Haitians the people who are poor see evil pretty much as black and white. The people that I've been working with these 30 years have taught me a lot about how Jesus is in my face. The gospel is alive. I put this picture in because when I first moved to Fondois, it's in the middle of the mountains, we had a hurricane. We had some Americans visiting and staying at the guest house, and there was a big mudslide, so we couldn't get up the mountain. But they had to get up the mountain to get to Port-au-Prince to get home. So we got to the mudslide, and 6 or 8 young men from the town at the top of the mountain, Tomgato, came down and pulled us up the mountain. Absolutely and it was muddy, and it was raining, and it was awful. When we got to the top of the mountain, they took us behind a building, brought buckets of water, and washed our feet. That's the gospel. I wasn't washing their feet, they were washing mine. I put this picture of the man with the crutches, because I was looking for a blind man but couldn't find a picture. I used to go every Saturday with the Missionaries of Charity to a clinic in Cité Soleil in the poor slum. And we would see about 400 people a day, on the Saturday. And the sisters would pass out medicines to people with colds and parasites. But Father Rick and I would see the sickest people. And I would go out into this crowd of 400 looking for the sickest people. And I didn't know a lot of Creole at the time. And I'd go, "Sac passe, what's the matter with you? Kijanoye." And I walk up and I see 2 old men and they have canes. And they're sitting on a bench, and I said, "What can I do for you?" And they said, "We're blind, we want to see." Isn't that the gospel? Isn't what Jesus said when he found that blind man? "What can I do for you?" "I want to see." I just started laughing. I said, "I'm not Jesus. I can't make you see." But they also had diabetes, they had high blood pressure, so we did take care of them. But the gospel was in my face again. Sister Pai Itzi is the sister on the right. She's a sister, missionary of charity. She's giving a drink of water to a child. I put that picture in because I used to say to people, if I get to heaven, it's because I gave drink to the thirsty. In Haiti, the water was always bad, so they sold little packets of water that we called Culligan. And, we called generator gas Delco. We called everything by its name. We were the Beatitudes were in our face. Giving drink to the thirsty, food to the hungry. The picture of the 2 girls reminded me of coming into Port-au-Prince one day and seeing a 30-some-year-old woman carrying her sister on her back. And her sister was sick. She was trying to get the sister to a clinic or a hospital. So I put them in the back of my truck, and we found a place for them to go. The Good Samaritan. I'm telling you, the gospel is so easy to see among the poor. This just happened 3 weeks ago, and I had to put the picture in because Jenny is in charge of our Catholic Charities office. She was out in her car, and she saw one of our clients walking home from the grocery store, and he had a brain injury years ago, and he could hardly walk, and he's carrying his groceries with him. So she picked him up, took him home. Good Samaritan. We had just gotten a donation that day of a scooter. And she said to the man, "Would you like a scooter?" So she went, put the battery in it, brought it to him, and now he is scooting all around Immokalee. Oh, there was one more thing that happened last week before we go here. I was in my office, Jenny was at the front desk, and a man came in, and his name was Christopher, Christ bearer. And he was mentally ill. He was a young man. And he was talking 100 miles an hour, and he was telling her all his problems, and he was homeless. She was so kind to him, and she listened to him. She told him how we could help him. She got him food. And when he left, she goes, okay, Christopher, goodbye. I'll pray for you. She called him by name. And I thought, Jesus just came to visit Jenny. Mother Teresa used to say, Jesus comes in the distressing disguise of the poor. How many of you, when you pray, think of Jesus as happy? Jesus is laughing. The people who are poor and disenfranchised I've worked with have taught me joy. Joy is not happiness. We would have visitors come to Haiti, and they'd say, it's so poor and it's so awful, but the people seem so happy. Sent a chill up my spine. Happy is so superficial. People who lack so much have a joy that flows from sorrow. Pope Francis says, those who proclaim the hope of Jesus carry joy, and they can see a great distance because they know how to see beyond the evil and beyond their problems. People who are poor and marginalized are joyful. This gentleman in the wheelchair, his name is Wilflo. We tried to get him here on the Biden program to stay at the villa. He was working at our hospital he was in his early 30s. We had the two hospitals on two different corners. He was walking to the children's hospital. A motorcycle came up to him, demanded money, shot him. And he's paralyzed except for his right hand. He's been to Florida to visit me a couple times, not anymore because he can't get out of Haiti. So we really wanted him to come and stay at the villa. He wanted to commit suicide when this first happened. We sent him to Philadelphia. He had some rehab. We got him an electric wheelchair. Father Rick put sidewalks all around so that he could get around. He is now the head of the social service department in our adult hospital. He is not letting what happened to him get him down. That's Father Rick Frechette. And Jesula is the lady on his right. She was a housekeeper of ours, was going home one day, stopped in the market to buy something. A truck lost its brakes, hit her, and amputated her leg. We gave her, really, these happen every day in where I lived and worked. We kept her job. She couldn't do housekeeping anymore, but we gave her a job in the pharmacy washing out bottles that we could use for medicine. So she was able to continue to work. And Norma is the woman on Father's left. She's an Argentinian, was really happy when Francis became Pope. And she is a physical therapist. She works with the adults who have had strokes. And the throwaway children who are handicapped, especially mentally handicapped in Haiti, are just thrown away. So we have programs now for them, and she's the therapist. And the other picture is my chauffeur. You always had a chauffeur in Haiti, and the nurse's aide that worked with me in the mountains. It was really hard work, but it didn't mean we didn't laugh and didn't have a good time. People who are poor and marginalized, and I'm saying this because this is what happened in my reality, but poor and marginalized people everywhere share these same gifts with us. Courage and hope. People who are poor and marginalized can't afford despair. And their hope is based on God and God alone. Their courage is not the absence of fear, but the fortitude to go through the fear and endure the hardship. Pope Francis says, "Where are we anchored? If we are settled where everything is comfortable and secure, there's no need for hope." People who are poor cannot tell their families there's no hope. Hope is not optimism. Optimism keeps saying everything's going to be fine. People who are poor know it's not going to be fine. People who are poor know that the bad guys often win. People who are poor know that Good Friday wasn't good for Jesus. But they do believe in the resurrection. The resurrection was not the last-minute resuscitation of Jesus. He had to die. And that God can bring good out of tragedy, failure, and death. I wanted to show you this because many of you have heard about the migrants who went to South America and then came to Florida, came to Texas and came to Mexico. And also you've heard about the Darien Gap, which is how they get to Mexico. After the 2010 earthquake, it was Brazil. Yeah, it was Brazil was going to have the World Cup and they were going to have the Olympics and they needed help. So they sent charter flights to Haiti and they picked up lots of young people, didn't need visas, just took them to Brazil and they lived there. And they helped prepare everything. But then Brazil kind of went downhill. Now there's lots of racism and social class prejudice. So the Haitians left Haiti, went to Brazil, left Brazil, went to Chile. This is where a lot of them have learned Spanish. In Chile, they were received well. But then in 2017, their economy stagnated. So suddenly, these people who didn't speak Spanish, didn't have jobs, became the enemy. So they left Chile. Most of them walked 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 miles, the overland route. In order to get to Mexico and the United States, they had to go through the Darien Gap. It's a 60-mile stretch of rainforest. It's wet, buggy, bandits. You have to pay people to get you through there. And a lot of people die and are injured in the Darien Gap. They have dehydration, they get sick. The people came because they had hope. And their hope, like I said, was based on God and God alone. This is a family who walked through the Darien Gap. Husband and wife, she was pregnant with twins, and they had the baby with them. So they marched through the Darien Gap, marched the 3,000, 4,000 miles, and they came to Immokalee to stay with her mom, and they asked for asylum. Probably won't get asylum because you have to have persecution to be approved for asylum. The man on the right is an African American. I love his story because talk about hope. The man came to my office, his 70-some-year-old mother pushing him in a wheelchair, and he couldn't move except he could wiggle his feet and his toes. Any of you who are nurses or doctors, you know, I learned a lot living in Haiti, and I knew right away he had Guillain-Barré syndrome. It's a virus that when you get it, you're paralyzed. But over time, the paralysis lifts, and it lifts from the bottom up. So when I saw him sitting in the wheelchair moving his feet, but he couldn't move anything else, it was probably Guillain-Barré. He had been in a hospital in Lehigh Acres. He went to rehab. They had no insurance. They didn't keep him. He couldn't feed himself, bathe himself, toilet himself, shave himself. His 70-year-old mother was doing all that, and there was lots of tension in the home. He was frustrated. He was paralyzed. She was frustrated. The two women standing there with us are physical therapists, and they have a little tiny physical therapy department office in Immokalee. She knows me well because she was a tutor of mine when I was there years and years ago. She gave us a discount, and we started sending him there every day. He came back 3 or 4 months later, like the 10 lepers. I'm telling you, the gospel's alive in my life. He was the man that came back and gave thanks. He was walking, and he still had some crippling of his fingers, but he had gotten better. But he said it's because he came to us and we helped him. Many of the HM sisters know these. This is Dr. Augustine, his wife Nathalie, and their 3 children. He ran all of Father Rick's medical programs. One day he's in his car with his children, his wife. Bandits surround the car in Haiti, pull their guns, pull them out of the car. They're going to kidnap them. One of the bandits happened to know Father Rick, and they knew Dr. Augustine, and he said to the other bandits, no, he's all right, don't hurt him. But at that point, Father Rick and Dr. Augustine knew they had to leave Haiti. They couldn't risk their children being hurt. Doctors, lawyers, business people were the people being kidnapped. So they came to Immokalee. We took care of them for a year, and the HM sisters helped to get them relocated. Guess where? Springfield, Ohio. Oh, for a few months it was really good, and it's still good. They're both translators. She's a translator for a women's clinic, and he's a translator at the Bon Secours Hospital, and they're studying to take their tests to get their medical certificates in America and become residents. That's courage and hope. The other woman is also a doctor, was a pediatrician. Came to America to be with her Haitian husband, who was a permanent resident, but it was an abuse situation. So she ended up coming to a town near us, came into Catholic Charities to get help, ran into me. I used to be the administrator at the hospital she worked at in Haiti. So there's a special program you can, where you can get citizenship if you're a victim of domestic violence. So she's now a citizen, living in Miami, a nurse practitioner, and working at a pediatric clinic. So that's hope. People who are poor and marginalized have great faith. Pope Francis says faith is not a light that scatters our darkness, but a lamp that guides our steps through the darkness. Be assured that the Lord never abandons us. That gentleman came to me for help with rent. I get asked for help for rent a lot. And I always say, if I help you this month, who's going to help you next month? And they point to heaven and they say, God's going to help me. And I go, don't tell me God's going to help me. God doesn't drop money from the heavens to pay your bills. And then they say to me, but God sent me to you. That's faith. The woman over there is Danielle. She came from Chile through the Darien Gap, and she was pregnant, and her husband died along the way. She made her way to Immokalee, made her way to Catholic Charities, because in a town that's all poor, and they say, where can we get help? People say, go to the church. So she came to the church for us to help her. This wonderful old lady, you can tell by looking at her, she's got a little dementia. She lived in a one-room shack, got a bed, a bathroom, and a tiny, tiny little kitchen with her husband. Between the two of them, they were making about $850 a month. They had been here on TPS, and they were able to work, and they paid taxes, so they had some Social Security. Her husband died. She's left with $400, $425. The rent is $600. The guy that collects the rent comes to her and says, I'm going to lock you out if you don't pay it. About 3 months she was not paying her rent. So they asked me to go see her, and I went to see her, and I went to see the landlord and said, you can't lock her out. You're not allowed to lock people out. And the landlord didn't know what to do with this old lady who knows the rules. So they're allowing her to stay there at $400. Also, I called Department of Children and Families because they have an elderly program, so they're looking after her too. Sometimes you just need to advocate. I put that picture in just because I love it. They are people of faith. They are risk takers. Pope Francis says, Jesus firmly tells us not to be afraid of the upheavals in every period of history, not even in the face of the most serious trials and injustices. I think we all have to remember that right now with all that's going on. Jesus is always walking with us, even in the darkest moments, and he will reveal his presence. We have a clothing room where people can get clothes, and we have a soup kitchen. About 2 weeks ago, a woman came to get some help with her rent. No, she had just moved. from someplace and was new to Immokalee. And I asked all of them, are you Catholic or Protestant? Because you can find a faith community of Haitians that will help you in whatever church. She says, I'm a Catholic, but I haven't been to church since I was in Haiti, because in Brazil and Chile, they didn't have any that were Creole speaking. She says, I can't come to church until I go to the clothing room and get some clothes to wear to church. Now, think about the people that go to church in our first world churches. They don't even dress up anymore. And the Haitians dress up really nice for church, but they're going to a clothing room to find clothes. How many of us would do that? I love this picture because people who are poor and marginalized will challenge our assumptions. I put this first picture in so you would all think about it, because this happens in the North. When you see people standing on the street saying, I'll work for food, what do you think? What are your assumptions? When you hear or see pictures on the news about farm workers, are they illegal? Are they in this country illegally? And I put the picture of the old lady in just for Winifred. That's Claudia. Claudia is Winifred's friend. Winifred came down with some associates to visit us. Claudia is homeless. She comes to our office 3 times a week for a shower and clothes, and that cart are all her earthly possessions. What do you think when you see homeless people? Claudia loves us, and she knows that we care about her. People come to get food in the food pantry, and their birthday is this week, and we sing to them, and we give them a cake. You know, we try to make it all equal. We are not there helping them. We are just walking with them. I love that shirt. I went to a party and this little boy had a shirt on, "We are the future." And so are all the children. I just put this picture in this week. I opened my Bible and this picture was in it. That's Sister Carmel. She's the foundress of the community I lived with in Fondwa. And that's me, and it's a few weeks after the earthquake, and we are looking at once was our house and our clinic. I think it is a profound picture of compassion. Mother Teresa speaks of poverty. She says poverty is about freedom. She says it's a freedom that what I possess does not possess me. So that what I possess doesn't hold me down, so that my possessions don't keep me from sharing or giving of myself. She says poverty is about love. She says the most devastating form of poverty is not material riches or lack thereof, but a lack of love. That's why I was so touched when Jenny was talking to Christopher. She couldn't help him much, but she showed him she cared about him. And Mother Teresa says the wealthy and the poor need each other. She says we have no right to judge the rich. For our part, what we desire is not a class struggle, but a class encounter, in which the rich save the poor and the poor save the rich. The poor offer the rich an opportunity to be kind, loving, and charitable, and the rich offer the poor a chance to be humble. Henry Nouwen says, our identification with people so different from ourselves is extremely difficult, because instead of claiming control in these relationships, we open ourselves to an unknown future. Solidarity with others requires attitude change, acceptance of differences, and struggle. And you all know this picture from Francis. Francis says the poor always and everywhere evangelize us because they enable us to discover in new ways the true face of the Father. And with that, I want to end with a little reflection and a song about the face of God.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Tu es l'image de Dieu. I hold you in my heart. Tu es l'image de l'amour. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Tu sei la luce di Dio. I hold you in my heart. Tu sei il volto dell'amore. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of God. The face of God. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are a part of me. A part of me. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. Eres la luz de Dios. I hold you in my heart. Eres la cara del amor. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. 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 La luce di Dio. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. L'image de Dieu. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. La luz de Dios. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. You are the
All right, I'm going to ask if there are any questions or comments, and then we're going to end. It'll be an ending prayer for us after the questions and comments.
Raise your hand if you have a question, and I'll bring the microphone to you.
Go ahead. Oh, you need the mic.
Sister, who owns these properties in Immokalee that charge these outrageous
They're
rent?
They're individuals, mostly white Americans.
Who live far away?
No, some of
probably.
them live in Immokalee, but some of them live far away. But they say the prices have gone up because property taxes have gone up. I mean, they have all kinds of reasons for it. And then a few months ago, the people that came in and asked for help with their rent said they were paying we give them a paper and their landlord has to fill out the paper. We have criteria to meet. And they say, the landlord's charging me $10 to fill in the paper. I marched my little body right over to the landlord and said, we've been helping your people with their rent for 30 years, and we will not do it anymore if they don't have money, that's why they're coming to us. He goes, okay, we'll make an exception for you. So they did. Not for everybody, but for us. Yes. Almost everything I'm telling you about poor and disadvantaged, urban, rural, Ohio, Florida, Haiti, it's true. What they are teaching us, no matter where they're living, they are teaching us what I've shared with you.
Hi, Sister. Where is Father Rick Frechette now? Is he in Immokalee?
No, he's in Haiti.
He's still in Haiti?
Yeah. He probably won't get out of Haiti now with all the trouble they're having. Nancy?
I think I heard today that 12 countries were named by President Trump as not being allowed to send any people to America.
President Trump named 12 countries that we're not allowed to send any people to America that we would accept, and Haiti is one of them. Comment?
It's just adding more salt to the wound. The American embassy was very close to our hospitals, and it's been closed for visas for a couple years, so they're not getting visas to come to America. They're only open for services to Americans. To try to get a passport in Haiti is absolutely impossible because the government's broken. So it's like pouring salt in a wound, but it's not going to change the reality of how bad Haiti is.
Sister, you mentioned the Haitians in Immokalee have legal status. Has there been any attempt to take them out of Haiti?
Take them out of Immokalee?
Take them out of Immokalee?
When January came and all this started, I made a booklet for the Haitians about what to do if ICE knocks on their door, and also how to get ready. You heard on the news a few months ago, there are American children being taken to Guatemala, and if I'm a mother and I have a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old born in America, I would take them with me if I was deported. Otherwise, you have to get a legal guardian for them, and the legal guardian raises them. And I know for the Haitians, after a couple years, the Haitians would want some money for raising your children. So, no, we have not had raids as such, but I'm waiting for them because watermelon was our last season, and watermelon ended in May. So June, July, August they start planting. So June, July, there's no work. So that would be the time. It's so political. That'll be the time there will be raids because they don't need the farm workers in Immokalee at the time. So no, we haven't. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Sister Judy. That was wonderful. Oh my goodness. Sister Winifred, where are you? Where is she? You get an extra applause because you insisted we keep trying to get Sister Judy here. So thank you, Sister Winifred. Persistence pays off. So reminder, next month, don't be here the first Thursday. Be here the second Thursday for another Humility Sister, Sister Margaret Marzel. And thank you all so much again for attending today. We will put, the recording will be up in a couple of weeks, and I will try to get the song on our Facebook page as soon as possible. Thank you all again. Safe travels home.